Hello. This is weird. As soon as I pressed the record button, I was like, oh, that's weird. I haven't done that in a very long time. I haven't used my Instagram stories like this and like spoken to the camera in quite some time. It feels odd. Hello. It's me. If you're looking at my face right now, it's because the last Instagram story you just saw on my stories was the cover for Silverborn. I will have shared the Australian, New Zealand and the US covers for Silverborn, which are very beautiful. The artwork is by Jim Madsen. Just like with my previous 3 books, he's brilliant, and I think that he has done such a beautiful job. I'm very, very excited to be able to show you those covers. The other part of this, and there is a post on my grid right now, which you can go and read for a little more, like a weird hair clinging to me. Go and read for some more information, but essentially that post, I've got to speak more quickly. I'm usually good at speaking quickly. Is about the publication dates for Silverborn, which are definitely 100% for sure officially the 30th of April in Australia and New Zealand, the 8th of May in the UK, and the 24th of June in the US in 2025. I know what you're thinking. Are they really? Because, I talk about this in the post, but they have been changed a few times. It's me. It's my bad. But no, I am announcing it to you because previous dates, since my last announcement of what I had thought and hoped would be the pub date of Silverborn, there have been a couple more pub date changes. None of them I have shared with you or announced myself, simply because I have not felt confident that I would be able to make them happen, that they would be, that it was definitely the one. Just because it's frustrating to hear from me, oh, it's this date, and oh no, sorry, it's this date. That's not fun for you. It's definitely not fun for me. So I wanted to just be really certain that the next information that you're hearing directly from me is it. So yeah, oh, and also I'm aware that if you've pre-ordered or if you're just sort of keeping an eye on it, these dates are a bit later than, we were hoping it would come out at the end of this year. So it's a little bit later than what you're currently expecting. But look, I think it will be worth it. I hope. Is that arrogant? It will be totally worth it. I don't know. I'm bad at marketing and promoting books. I like it. I think you'll like it. Should I have done a practice run of this? Probably, but it's fine. Social media should be authentic. You should get the unrehearsed rambling version. Anyway, so everything about the book and the release date you can read in the post, which I will also link from my stories after this. But I also the main thing that I wanted to come on and talk to you about was just the little finicky things that didn't really belong in that post, which is just that there will be some fun things. I think it's been a very long time. I know that I shared some snippets with you in the earlier part, most of which will because when I share those snippets with you, that's like, it's unedited. It's even my editors had not seen those snippets prior to sharing them with you. So some of them, it's not like guaranteed that any of those will actually make it into the final book. Although I think most of them have. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 little bits that have been cut just for the sake of word count, because as previously mentioned, when I say a beast, I mean I'm too scared to mention the draft word count to you. It obviously needs to, a lot of it has had to come out, but to be saved for future books. But yeah, some of those snippets aren't necessarily making it in, but most of them are. And also, this was my original point. Good God. I might share a little snippet. I'll have to look for one. I've sort of had a look, and I think there's 1 or 2 that I can share without spoiling too much. It's very hard. It's actually quite hard to find stuff at this point that is worth sharing, that also doesn't spoil everything. But I will find at least one for you. And also, I'm going to try and speed this up because I'm doing so much rambling. This has gone on way longer than it should. Also, I thought I might do a Q&A, which I also haven't done for a while, because I'm aware that in the long wait, some of you may have some questions about the next book, the rest of the books. Also, while I'm doing a Q&A, if you have any like crafty publishing industry, right, like anything that you might want to ask an author, I don't know, I'll see if I can help, see if I can try to answer them. And the other big thing is that I have some plans afoot to do a read-along, like a read-along of the first 3 books. I feel like we could all do that. We could all do that together, and that would be quite fun. And I have some ideas. It would probably involve some like videos and maybe like a Zoom thing. Yeah, so I've got sort of some kind of plans for that. Time-wise, I think it would probably logically be in the kind of immediate lead up to the pub date. So if it's end of April, it would be like maybe Feb, March, April, or maybe Jan, Feb, March. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I have ideas. Yeah, I just sort of wanted to take the temperature and see if there would be some interest in that. Put your hand up. Should we just do it? And I've forgotten what else I was going to say. Oh, I was going to do a giveaway a little while ago, and listen, my brain's broken. I forgot. I'm bad. I suck. But I really want to do that, because there are a couple of things I want to give away, but the main things I want to give away, I would like to give away a copy, at least one copy of the beautiful French graphic novel of Nevermoor, which I'm just so in love with. And also the stunning beautiful, stunning, delightful special edition. I don't know if it's special edition or limited edition. I'm not really sure what the difference is and what we're calling this one, but I'm going to call it the special edition because I think it's very special. Australia, New Zealand hardcovers that came out just for last Christmas. I have been meaning to give them away since then, but listen, I'm very sorry. I am terrible. Yeah, so that's the things. Did I cover the things? I've shown you the covers. I've told you the pub dates. I've promised you a snippet. I've promised some things in here. Don't worry, I'm on it. This time I'm on it. Snippet. If we've talked about the read along, I'd like to get your opinion on that. And I will do a Q&A. I might do that tonight. I went to the trouble of putting makeup on. I should just do a Q&A now. I'll do that. And yes, so that's everything, I think. Anyway, here is where I'm going to put in a little thing saying, tell me your questions. Do you have any questions? Is there anything you'd like me to talk about? If I can, I will. I'll try not to give spoilers. But if there's anything I can talk about, I will. And also, yeah, if you any writers, any people interested in the mechanics of book publishing. I don't pretend to be any kind of expert, to be honest, but I'll do what I can. And thank you. Oh, and I should say, I've just spent probably the good part of an hour trying to do this, and I feel like I had intended it to be the practice run, which is why it's so, but I think this is going to be the one. I think I'm not doing this for another hour, if I'm going to do a Q&A. But the other thing that I just, genuinely on a serious note, you have been so patient and lovely. I've had some really lovely messages and, people sort of inquiring after me and my health and saying, I hope you're okay. And I have been very, very, non-booky on social media. I was totally absent from social media for a while, purely just any big social media breaks that I have, it is me desperately hermiting and burrowing myself in a hole trying to write a book for you. So that's the way my brain works. I have to kind of shut everything out. But you've been so patient in waiting for this book, and I am genuinely so excited for you to read it. More excited than I've been for any of the previous ones. And it does feel like it kicks off the rest of the series in a really good way. So yeah, okay, I've had a location change. I had some dinner. I'm settling down with my dogs on the couch with a blanket. And if you can hear a crackling fire in the background, it's because I am playing a crackling fire on YouTube because Vivian, my Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, really likes it. Yeah, and Rick's here too, and he'll probably pop in and out of the videos because he likes to walk on the couch behind me and force me to throw toys for him. Anyway, I'm going to try and keep these really as short as possible so I can answer as many as possible because there's already a lot of questions. And I'm starting with the easy one. Will the UK version be purple? Yes, it will be beautiful purple, and I'm hoping that I can share that with you in the next few weeks. So I'll post about that soon, hopefully. Yes, actually, there will be lots of Cadence. Also, I just realised I forgot to put captions on the last video. I will make sure I put captions from here on in. There's quite a lot of Cadence, actually, in this book, and also some of my favourite bits and favourite lines are from Cadence in this book. I've actually really enjoyed writing Cadence. I always enjoy writing Cadence. I kind of make no secret of the fact that she's one of my absolute favourite characters. But yeah, this book in particular, she has a bit of a moment. This is so interesting. I've never, no one's ever asked me that before, which means everyone has actually been pronouncing my name incorrectly, basically forever, all my life. Technically the correct, oh, that's Vivian. He has a lot of opinions. Someone's alarm is going off in my building, so he has some feelings about it. Technically the correct pronunciation is Düsselburg Town Snort. Not many people can say that, so I am totally fine if you just call me Jessica Townsend. So of course I instantly forgot captions again on the next one. I'm so sorry. I will from here on in. This is such a good question. What's one thing about the direction of the series from Silverborn onwards you can say? So I remember when talking about like a couple, one or two books ago, maybe talking about that was Rick. He wants me to throw his dragon toy for him. Talking to my publishers about kind of the structure of the series and the way that I see it, and I've talked about this before in interviews about how I see the series as being like it's all one story, it's all Morrigan, it's all Morrigan's point of view, but thematically they feel to me like three separate acts, and I feel like the first act is Morrigan. It's like her immediate world. It's herself, it's her friends, it's finding a new family, it's like finding her way in this new city. And books 4 to 6 sort of feel like it's zooming out. So we're in quite close on Morrigan and her immediate like experiences of the world personally, and it's seen through that lens. And then with 4, 5 and 6, it's like we sort of zoom out and just see more of the world. We see more of Nevermoor, like kind of socially and politically and geographically, like a lot of different parts of Nevermoor that we haven't seen open up. She learns more about the Wondrous Society, more about herself and her own like past and origins and family. And then book 7, 8, 9 kind of zoom out again, and we see it's really tricky without trying to sort of give too much away, but yeah, I feel like I nearly said too much. Are we getting a murder mystery in book 4? Yes, you will see more of Nan Dawson in this book. I also really love Nan. You'll see a little bit more of her, and also some of the other patrons in Unit 919. I'm just trying to think if you, by the end of this book, if you will have met all of them. We've met Francis's, we've met Anar's, we've met Mahir's, obviously Hawthorne, Cadence, Morrigan. You meet Lamb's, Thaddeus. Who have I forgotten? Oh my god, I'm such a bad mum. Who have I forgotten? Arch. And you also meet Arch's patron. Oh god, I'm terrible. What a terrible author. you will meet, actually that just clicked for me. You will, by the end of this book, you will have met all of the patrons, even if briefly. My favourite is Daddy. You will see some of Unit 920, yes. Hey, Rick. Not in a huge way, but one of them will kind of have a semi-important-ish role to play. I think Silverborn might make you... I mean, not everyone's a crier. Some of us, like me, are tough guys who've never cried a single day in their life. I'm such a sook, that's not true. You're probably gonna cry. Sorry. I did not cry while writing it. I think it'll be really interesting throughout the series to see at what point I actually... Because I feel like there are some things that are coming that I'm not sure I will be able to write without crying, but there are some definite scenes in here that people who have read it have told me did make them cry. Sorry. Sadness is life. I was wondering if someone would mention what Mog's wearing on the cover. She's actually wearing peach under her black coat. She really expands her wardrobe in this book, and that's all I have to say about that. There is more of Jack in Silverborn. I will be honest and tell you there's not like a mountain of page time for Jack, but the scenes that he is in are crucial and they're really important for... I would say that there's a scene with Jack in this book that is probably the most important scene in the book in terms of what it sets up for the rest of the series. I've probably said too much. That's all I'm going to say. The question says, this is a bit off topic, but have you ever read Nevermoor fanfiction? I haven't. I won't. But I love that it exists. I'm thrilled, in fact, that it exists. I think most authors would answer this question in a similar way, which is that it would be a really bad idea for me to read any Nevermoor fanfiction, just because I don't want in my head other people's creations with the characters, and like it sets a level of like, I don't know, I just feel like it would mess with my head a bit. I think that's your thing, and I'm thrilled. I can't tell you how happy it makes me. I love it, and I love, people often want to... I'm just going to throw this ball again for Rick. People often want to tell me they've written fan fiction or tell me about their fan fiction. That's lovely. I do get a real kick out of it. But I don't think authors should read fan fiction of their own works. I think I have not scratched the surface of the questions that you've sent in, and there are some really, really good ones, and I really do want to get through as many as I possibly can. What I might do is do them in a few bursts over the next couple of days, because I think that they stick around for 48 hours at least. Maybe they stay around after that. But anyway, I'm going to try and get as many answered in the next 48 hours I can. So I'll just sort of do them here and there where I can. But my phone is on 2% battery. And I am tired and I'm going to go to bed. But thank you so much for your excellent questions. There are some absolute corkers in there. And thank you for all of the lovely messages that I've been getting as well. I've been peeking in my inbox, and you've all been so kind about the cover and the pub date and the it's lovely to see your excitement for Silverborn, and I'm really excited too. And Rick is really excited for me to throw the ball. Like, you ready? Go get it. Hello, I'm back to answer some more questions. There are a lot of them. I've tried making a list, and I only scrolled part of the way up through the questions, and I already have a massive list. There are a lot of questions that are like in the same kind of family, a lot about like translations and movie and like touring and stuff that kind of amount to the same question. So I'm going to try and scoop up as many questions together as I can. I really like this question. Advice for an aspiring author: submit to agents or publishers straight up. I can only really speak to my experience. I have plenty of author friends who I submitted to agents, but I have plenty of author friends who didn't, who went straight to publishers and have had really good experiences with that. Based on my own experience, I would definitely suggest going to agents first. Your agent is going to do a lot of things for you that a publisher just isn't. I was going to say able to do, but that's not right. It's not the function of a publisher to do a lot of things that your agent will do for you. Agents negotiate on your behalf. They advocate for you, like with your publisher with certain things. They'll help you navigate like various conversations that you wouldn't necessarily, unless you are coming from a publishing background, you wouldn't necessarily know how to navigate or even what to ask for, or so an agent is just a really good buddy. I guess, like a really good business partner to have. Like essentially that's what they will be, is they will be your business partner and advocate, and hopefully if you get a good one, your pal. I've got the best one. I'm going to link to her here, Gemma Cooper. If you're writing a middle grade book and you're submitting to the timer for how long my answer should be is right in front of me as I'm speaking, but I just keep getting cut off mid-sentence. Gemma Cooper, the greatest. If you're writing a middle grade novel, if you've written a middle grade novel, if you are building a list of agents to submit to, can absolutely highly recommend Gemma. And I've had the privilege of having chats with some of her authors that she's been signing, which is a thing that sometimes happen if you get an offer from an agent. Sometimes you might talk to some of their authors to get the vibe, and it's been a treat to do that, because I've been able to talk to some great new authors and tell them how fabulous and hardworking and cool my agent is. So good luck. But I will say as well, it's happening again. This is going to be I give myself a little pep talk every time I do a Q&A of like, hey kid, short answers this time, right? Yeah, we got this. We're going to give such short, snappy answers. We're going to be so pithy. We're going to be so succinct. Anyway, what I was going to say was that is not to say that publishers aren't great. Like, obviously, like, I love my publishers, but it's just that the scope of what a publisher is able to do for you and is just not the same. It's not the same job at all. A publisher will obviously publish your book and do a wonderful job of it and market it and guide you through the whole editing process, and everything that they do as publishers is wonderful. But an agent is just so much more from a business perspective. A lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily think about, movie deals and just all sorts. In book one, does the chandelier change from a ship to a blackbird because of Mog, i.e. crow? Yes, I think so. I think that I just really liked the symbolism of that. In my mind, it's not on the page, but to me the symbolism is that the pink sailing ship chandelier represents Jupiter. It's colourful and bright, and the sailing ship has that kind of imagery of him as an explorer and the name North and True North, and I like to think that the Deucalion changing from the sailing ship to the crow is sort of recognizing Morrigan's importance and recognizing the wondersmith in her, and making room and making a special place for her, and sort of not shifting its allegiance from Jupiter, but making more room. Another publishing question, and I think that for me this is sort of related to the first one about agents and publishers. I wonder if so how would you go about breaking into writing as a full-time author if you started today? I wonder if the idea behind this question is thinking about sort of the way that social media plays. I might be overthinking the question, but thinking about maybe the way that social media plays a role, like in terms of book talk and a lot of writers and books gaining a lot of traction on social media and then seeking out book deals. Again, it's not my experience. I can't speak to that. I know that has been a great avenue for a lot of people. I had a really traditional route to publishing. It was sent to literary agents' slush piles, and then, got an agent, was submitted to publishers, etc. I realized there was no mention of book talk on social media necessarily in this question, but that's sort of how I've interpreted it, just because of the way that it's worded of, if I started today, well, that's something that is different today as opposed to 9 years ago when I got my literary agent, is that a lot of writers are sort of gaining an audience on social media, and especially book talk, and then seeking agents. And I don't think that happens. I think those are outliers. I think that is awesome when that happens. I don't think it's the typical way to publishing. The other two things are breaking into writing and as a full-time author, two different things. So one thing I want to address with breaking into writing, the only way to break into writing is to write. I know it's so boring. But write the book, finish the book, revise the book, polish the book, chew the book like a dog with a slipper. That's what I did for 10 years. And when you're really happy with it, or even while you're still writing it, I think sometimes it's good to, while you're still writing, to keep your eye on the prize and look into the agents that you want, and start doing that research and thinking about how you're going to either seek representation or go to publishers. It can help you stay motivated. And that's what I did. Like, for the last couple of years before I even finished my book, I was starting to build a list of who I would submit to, and learning about what they were looking for. Another way to find agents is to look in the acknowledgement sections of your, like, I was going to say favorite books, but books that are like yours that you enjoyed, that are in the same genre and category and so on, and see who their agents are, because they are obviously looking for your kind of book, or they like to represent your kind of book. So that's one way to do it. And I have one other point, but this is about to cut off. I think I lost track of the other point that I was going to make. It was something else entirely, but anyway, I wanted to say one other thing about my point about book talk as well, because I don't feel like I explained that very well and why my brain went there. It was more that I think sometimes younger writers who have only sort of existed in the landscape of social media that just wasn't around when I got a book deal, when I got my agent and so on, if you see people gaining a lot of traction and getting big audiences on TikTok and then getting big splashy book deals, it can either seem like, it can be motivating, it can be demotivating, but it can also seem like that's the road to publishing. And like, if you don't do that, then you're not going to have a book deal worth having. You're not going to have a literary agent worth having. You're not, it's simply not true. That's me saying those are the outliers. Like, it's amazing when that happens and exciting, but I think most people are taking this. I got a lot of different versions of this question. Will the French graphic novel be coming to X country, being translated into X language, etc.? And I also am taking this as an opportunity to show you this beautiful book. It's so lovely. The answer is I don't know, and I hope so, and maybe. It's really up to all of the different publishers in various regions. It depends on, publishing is kind of a weird animal, so it depends on like how popular the novel is in that region. It depends on if there's a market for graphic novels at all, and particularly if there is a market for this novel as a graphic novel. And also, I believe, my understanding is that like the artwork in this, which is so stunning, can be like licensed by different countries who can then translate it into their own language. That may happen. I hope it will happen. I suggest talking to the publisher of Nevermoor in your country and asking them. But yeah. I also got a lot of variations on this question of will X edition, will my favorite version of it be coming out this time? I can't answer all of those, but like particularly the two that people most want to know about is the UK hardback, which absolutely yes, and I will be revealing the cover for that soon. And also the other one that a lot of you asked about is this new special edition of the Australian, so this is the new hardback special edition in Australia and New Zealand. This one, I'm not totally sure what the plan is for this for Silverborn. I will need to speak to my Australian publishers, I think. I hope so, because I want to complete my collection of them. And I know a lot of you do as well. I'm not sure if the plan, sorry, I was pressing a random button on my keyboard. I don't know if the plan is to bring that out immediately with the other two, or if that will be something that comes out later. Listen, Baby Dave does not get a ton of page time in this one. There is a little hint of Baby Dave though, and I love Baby Dave, and I love writing the scenes that have Baby Dave in them. So I can promise you there will definitely be more of Baby Dave in future books. And you do get a little tiny Baby Dave in this one. So many questions about Morrigan and Jupiter. Particularly after, I should have said this way at the beginning of this Q&A, but I am going to assume that if you've gotten this far in the Q&A, you've probably read through to the end of Hollowpox. So just let this serve as your spoiler warning for any questions that I might answer. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything major in Silverborn. I will give some like little hints and stuff. But I'm going to treat the first 3 books as totally fair game. So if you haven't read Hollowpox or Wondersmith or whatever, just tread carefully amongst these questions. All I was going to say with this one is I can't really answer it. I mean, I don't want to go into specifics, but it's good that you know that something is going to go down after the way that the last book ended. But there's drama. I don't know. Okay, first of all, I love this question. Second of all, if you hear weird chewing noises, it's because Rick, my dog, one of my dogs, is sitting under my desk chewing a toy, and he will not be persuaded away from this activity. Do you have 3 words to hint at new aspects of the Nevermoor universe we're getting? Yeah, I do. So I've said before that you'll be seeing parts, and especially one part of Nevermoor that we haven't been to before, and we will be spending quite a bit of time there. I had a little think about it, and the 3 words that I will use to describe it are water, privilege, and pleasure. Can you hear those chewing noises? He is hard at work on that toy. Do I answer DMs from readers on here? I do sometimes. I think that I miss a lot of them. I try to read as many of them as I can. I know I do miss a lot of them. To be honest with you, I don't often reply to I have a bee in my bonnet about kids and teenagers messaging people on apps, or more to the point, people like, you know, authors, actors, etc., messaging back to kids. It's totally understandable that kids would want to message us. We shouldn't be messaging you. So if I'm not sure if you're a kid or a teenager, unless you say, hi, I'm 58-year-old Susan from Montana, like, I am probably not going to message you back, because I just don't want to encourage kids to think that they should be messaging with adults on apps. I'm sorry, that's so boring, but I'm a boring adult. I also got a lot of variations on the question of, will there be a Nevermoor movie? Can you tell us about the Nevermoor movie? Is it still a musical? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm always very excited to talk about such things. Assuming some of you have heard nothing about it. I know I've said various things in various places, but maybe not centrally. So it's the rights are with Paramount. It's being written and produced by Drew Goddard, who is a brilliant screenwriter. It's being directed by Michael Gracie, who is the incredibly talented chap who created The Greatest Showman. And it's going to be a musical. And this is the bit where I'm not sure what I'm allowed to tell you. But like, no one's explicitly told me not to say this. I know there are some things I can't say, but I have heard some of the songs. I've heard, I think, about 6 or 7 of the songs. And what I've heard is beautiful, stunning, like incredible, genuinely just the kind of songs that you will just want to sing forever. And also a couple of them, but especially one of them, made me like sob. It's so beautiful. I have no idea if I'm allowed to. I've already hit publish on the last one, telling you that I've heard some of the songs. I genuinely don't. I may need to delete this because I don't actually know if I'm allowed to say that. But also, I don't think anyone explicitly said, don't tell anyone you heard the songs. It's not like I'm singing them for you. So I think it's okay. I'm not allowed to tell you who wrote them. But I can tell you that they're wonderful. And I've also seen some concept artwork a while ago, which is really, really beautiful and exciting. Okay, we've got a location change because I've had to rush out here. My phone was on 1%, so I've had to come out to the charger in the kitchen, and it's not just like a cord, it's a whole stand, so it's slightly awkward, but you do get to see my cute little light that I got from Bunnings that is in my kitchen. Anyway, the caveat with the movie is this kind of the same caveat that there always is with the movie, which is like Hollywood is Hollywood, and you never really know if whether a film's going to be made until it's, greenlit and like in production, obviously. And also last year there were the Hollywood writers' strikes followed by the SAG-AFTRA strikes, and that kind of like seemed to slow the whole movie machine down, not just Nevermoor, but like just I think movies in general. So there's that. But I think the team that's in place to make this movie are incredible, and I'm so excited about them, and they are incredibly passionate about Nevermoor and have the most amazing vision for it. So Rick and I have moved to the couch. Vivian has taken himself off to bed, which is something he does sometimes. Do I plan on adding a map of Nevermoor in one of the upcoming books? I would like to have a map one day. The problem is that Nevermoor is a very, very big city, and also quite a lot of it is quite nebulous in my head in terms of where things are in relation to each other. For the very important story reason of I might want to change stuff as I go along. So I know a lot of authors like to have like to work from a very distinct map, but for me that map kind of changes all the time. But I definitely would like in future books to have even just maps of certain boroughs or certain places, or I'd like to maybe have a map of Old Town once that fleshes out a bit more. I'm now scrolling through looking for some quick fire questions that I can answer in single words or single sentences. So I'll try and do a few of those in quick succession. Will there be Fen in this book? Yeah, of course. I don't think I could ever have a book without Fen in it. Are we going to find out what Baz Charlton's knack is? Not in this book, maybe in a future book. Will we be seeing much more of the basement nerds in future books? Ravi and Sophia are my faves. I love that Ravi and Sophia are your faves. That's really cute. Definitely. In this book, the basement nerd that you see the most of is Connell O'Leary, and I've really enjoyed writing the parts with Connell O'Leary. They're very important parts of this book. Will we see more of the lives of the others in Unit 919? Yes, for a couple of them in this book, you do get a little bit of the curtain getting pulled back slightly on their home lives, just little bits. That stuff, because there's so many members of Unit 919 and there's so much that I know about them and would like to show and tell you about them. It's hard because it's often not stuff that is strictly related to the plot of the book. And so what that means is that it's often the stuff that gets cut first. But I do think it's really important stuff as well to have in there. So I try to find ways to show you little bits of that where I can. But yeah, there's a couple of places in this book, and one in particular, just a little bit that I really enjoyed. Do I have any social media other than Instagram? No, I'm bad enough at this one. I used to have Twitter, but Twitter, that place, am I right? I think a lot of us no longer have Twitter. I've thought about I think if I was going to migrate to any other platform or add any other platform, weirdly, I think it would be Tumblr, just because I think Tumblr is like kind of the nicest place. It's maybe I think it's one of the nicest social media platforms. It seems very calm in there. And I think it also lends itself more to like long form writing, like for answering questions in this long and rambling way that I tend to do. I'm not saying I will do it, but if I was going to, I would probably get onto Tumblr. I have also thought that possibly when I next go on tour, I would like to do more kind of taking you along on that in terms of like some video content and some like behind the scenesy stuff of, I don't know, in kind of the most relaxed, chill way that I possibly can. Not like nothing fancy, but much more kind of a real look at the behind the scenes of what it's like to be an author on tour, because it is really fun and a lot of stuff happens, and it's also really hard work, and there's a lot of like mundane stuff in between all the cool, fun, exciting stuff of meeting readers and having events and stuff, which I think to a certain audience would probably be interesting. But having said that, most days on tour I like stare at a hotel room wall at the end of the day because I've done too much extroverting. So I don't know, I don't want to commit. Will there be a proper blurb / Silverborn description anytime soon or closer to the release? Yes. I don't know when or how soon, but I would say in the next couple of months probably. The blurb on like Amazon and on various websites is like kind of placeholder blurb. It's sort of purposefully vague, but yes, there will be one at some point. Is there going to be a movie, please, with a worldwide open casting call? This was the other variety of movie related question that I did get quite a lot of. Are there going to be auditions? Can I audition for the movie? I have to be in the movie. Can you put me in the movie? Are you casting the movie? Okay, I'm not casting the movie, so I don't know if you can be in the movie. I don't know if there will be open casting calls. Those discussions will come a little later down the line, I think. I would love it. I would love it if from Morrigan and Hawthorne and Cadence and the all of the younger parts, I would love it if they were open to some new exciting unknown faces, but that's not going to be my call. Later down the track, when I know more, I'll keep you posted. Will Morrigan eventually let her dad know she is still alive? This question made me laugh a lot. I don't know. Do we think he deserves to know? Assuming we'll have a lot more Squall in this one. You assume correctly. Okay, 11 something p.m. might seem like a strange time to crack on with a Q&A. Probably a dumb time to do it on social media, but I've just wrapped up work for the evening on a Friday. What a loser. And I'm taking tomorrow off, so I wanted to do one third and final burst of Q&A questions, just to try and wrap up as much as I can in the next, I reckon, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max. Can you hear Vivian snoring? It's real cute. Probably got an hour and a half-ish in me before I start doing these ones. So I'll try and get through as many questions as I can, starting with this one, which is easy. It's Silverborn longer than the past 3 books. not all three of them together. But yeah, Hollowpox was previously the longest, and it is a bit longer than Hollowpox. This is a genre of question that I saw a lot of, and I'm going to try and scoop as many of them into one question as I can. Swedish book signing. I've never been to Sweden. I would love to come to Sweden. A lot of people asked if I will be either doing book signings in bookshops here in Australia, or if I will be touring the US and the UK again, and various other countries. The answers are varied for that. I believe that the plan is always, or has always been, for every book that I tour in Australia and New Zealand and the US, and then the UK we tend to tour when the paperback comes out, which is usually, because it comes out first in hardback, and then paperback usually comes out maybe 3 to 6 months later. So I believe that will be the plan this time, but when I obviously have more information, I will let you know. But with regard to countries outside of the English language regions that I always tour, I've done some. I've had to say no a lot. I would love to say no less than I do say no. But my calendar is basically full of just, hey lady, you got a book to write. You should hide away from the whole world and write that book. So I do have to prioritize getting the books written. Otherwise, you'd have to wait even longer for them. But having said that, I would love to go to more places and meet more of you. It always depends on if my publishers in that country want me to, if they want me to do events or festivals or something like that. So I would like to carve out a little chunk of time next year if I can, to try and fit more of that in. So fingers crossed. And further to that question, this one, will you have time to come to Norway next year? We would love to have you here again. I would come back to Norway in a heartbeat. I loved it so much. I had the most wonderful time there with my publishers and my translator, and meeting Norwegian readers and meeting Norwegian authors. I loved it so much. And I went to Finland in that same little period of time, and again had the most just incredible, magical, wonderful time. Yes, if I'm invited back, and if it's humanly possible for me to make it work, I will absolutely do everything that I can to make it work. I would love to. This is a really good question. I think they probably sound similar because they're both intended to be nursery rhymes. I wrote them as to be nursery rhymes in this world, in Nevermoor. In the way that nursery rhymes are so creepy. They're always, well, not always, but like a lot of nursery rhymes are creepy, especially the older ones. Like Ring Around the Rosie, is that the one that's like about people dying from the plague? Rockabye Baby, when the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, down will come baby, cradle and all. That's so grim. It's so grim. And so I wanted to write, the reason that, I think you should think about the fact that they both chose nursery rhymes as their songs to call wonder. Also, you might want to think about the fact that Morrigan felt like Squall's song was familiar. I also just want to say about this, writing the lyrics to Squall's Nocturne, Little Crowling, has been one of my favourite things that I've written. I think there are 2 verses that you've heard or that you've seen on the page so far, I'm pretty sure. But I've written either 4 or 5, and they just get progressively more and more grim. So much so that I'm sure at least the last verse, there's no way I'm ever going to be allowed to put it in a book. No way. Like, it's not worse than real world nursery rhymes, like the kind of the bleakest variety of those, or like old fairy tales like Brothers Grimm and Hans Christian Andersen, like the originals that were like, they really pushed the sinister edge. But like, if Hans Christian Andersen wrote the original Little Mermaid today, I don't think anyone would publish it. It's actually a lot that I love about Silverborn. Not to brag, not to big up myself. I really love this book. This book is book has destroyed me, but that's a little hyperbole. But it has been quite stressful and difficult, but I love it. I really love it. And I think what I love most about it is that this is peculiar to me. This is to my taste. Possibly no one else will agree. But for me, the funniest bits, or the funny bits in Silverborn, are, I think, the funniest bits of the series so far. And the, like, emotional, gut-wrenching parts are, like, the most emotional, big kind of sucker punches so far as well, I think. I won't go into detail, but I don't think it's spoiling too much to say that, further to the previous question about the funny bits, favourite thing to write of Morrigan and Hawthorne's friendship in book 4, they were just so fun. They were so fun to write. And just Hawthorne just kept kind of coming out with the most out-of-pocket things, and I really enjoyed that. I say that as if I didn't. I don't know, he just said it wasn't my fault. Will we see more of the Free State as opposed to just Nevermoor? Not in this book. In future books? I think so. This question made me laugh so much. Is 9 the maximum number of books, or do you think it might go long? What is your definition of long? Is 9 not long? I thought 9 was so long. What is your definition of long? Thoughts on the Swedish Nevermoor covers? I love them. I love them unreservedly. The artist is, I'm so sorry, I do not know how to pronounce this, Mats Minhagen. Incredible. They're so beautiful. I still have not recovered from the Holopox cover. And I believe that they are also my Danish publishers also use the same artwork. They're so beautiful. I can't wait to see what they do with Silverborn. Will Gemma be narrating the audiobook again? This is another question I got a lot of in various forms, and also quite a lot of you commented on the cover post about how much you love the audiobooks and asking if Gemma will be reading them again. The answer to this question is, God, I hope so. I think having Gemma WILL read the audiobooks seems to be such an important part of a lot of people's experience of Nevermoor, not least of all mine. It is my favourite part of the entire process, genuinely, is receiving the audiobook and hearing Gemma read the books. She's so talented. She's I don't know how she does it, but she elevates these books to just something so much more magical and wonderful. I'm going to tag her in so that she knows how much love there is for her, because everyone asks me this question, and yes, the answer is just... Will we see more queer rep in Silverborn? This was another question that I got a lot of, and the answer is yes, absolutely. Obviously, that's something that's really important to me as a queer woman. I also know it's very important to a lot of my readers. And I also just think it's an important thing to acknowledge the existence of, in the same way that we ambiently acknowledge the existence of straightness in everything to a degree that we don't notice. It's a no-brainer for me. Queerness is part of Nevermoor because queerness is part of the world. Will Gemma be narrating the audiobook again? This is another question I got a lot of in various forms, and also quite a lot of you commented on the cover post about how much you love the audiobooks and asking if Gemma will be reading them again. The answer, you heard it here first, audiobook fans. That's amazing news. So Gemma's all in. I'm so excited. And also, while we're getting confirmation of questions that have already been asked, to the people who asked about the Australia and New Zealand Special Edition, and whether there will be a Silverborn version of that, or a special edition version of Silverborn. My lovely publisher, Jean Marie, yesterday did confirm to me that yes, there will be. And she said later, and I'm speculating. I guess that could mean that it comes out 12 months later, or it could be that, you know, the first 3 all came out at once, so maybe the next 3 will all come out at once. So if you're wanting to read it straight away, then it won't be that version, but yes, it will be coming for you to collect. A lot of you would like to know about when various translations are coming out in your country and in your language, and quite a few people commented this on the post as well, and what I said there to some degree and what I will say here as well is it really depends which country you're in. Right now, all of my international publishers are very patiently waiting for the final translatable manuscript. When they have it, their publishing dates will really just depend on a lot of different factors. You know, their publishing schedule for the year and when translators are available, because, you know, they have to book them in for certain windows. And I think most publishers do try to get the same translator every time because there's so much built up knowledge with each book. What I would say is I will try to share that information when I have it. But later down the track, maybe next year, you could also possibly ask your local publisher. And I think that's a wrap on the Q&A. Thank you so much. Your questions were so great. I really tried to get to as many as I could. I did more this time than I think I ever have in a Q&A before, but there were so many more that I would have liked to answer. Really great questions. And also, there were quite a lot that were asking such detailed, specific things that I simply could not answer them because it would be giving spoilers. So if you asked some like really specific, granular details about Silverborn and I haven't answered it, it may be that you were off the mark, but also it could have been that you were scarily on the mark and I didn't want to put any spoilers up. So good for you. Well done. But you don't know if that was you or not, so you'll have to wait and see. Also, I will save all of these as a highlight reel on my grid and leave them there for a while or possibly indefinitely, so people can still see it. And I promised you a snippet. The snippet will be coming. I hope sometime in the next week or so. I'm going to have to choose it very carefully. And thank you. So many of you in the Q&A also asked about how I'm doing and, about, and just said really nice things. Well, like, this is not a question, but I, want to say how much your books mean to me and so on. And I just want to say thank you so much. I am doing well, and I still, after all this time, have not learned how to keep an answer under 1 minute. But yeah, thank you so much for all of your amazing questions. Thank you for all of your lovely, lovely comments. And for your excitement about Silverborn and the cover. And what else was I going to say? I had a checklist in my head. I will also, as I mentioned, be sharing the UK hardcover for Silverborn. And I will also, again, I did mention that I would do a giveaway soon. Still on the cards, haven't forgotten. So both of those things will be appearing in the coming weeks and months. I don't know. I'm not putting a time frame on it. That's how I'm framing this. Is yes, it is coming, but when? Who knows? It's a mystery. Anyway, I have to go to bed because I'm delirious. Good night. Okay, just before I go to bed, there was one more thing that I forgot that I actually did really want to answer. Someone asked me, will the giveaway be open internationally? And if not, could you enter it and pay for international shipping? Absolutely no need to do that. Yes, it will be. Whatever I do, it will either be open internationally, or I may do like one local, one international or something like that. But no, yes, it will be open everywhere.